Is you ready, my brother? Step up to this mic and let's get it.
Make some noise for Domes, y'all. Make some noise.
Hey everybody, my name's not Doms. It's Domes.
What is it? Domes Gage is dope, but like
That boy is good. I'm
What's up, guys? Domes Gage here, and we're back. Episode 2 of my new solo podcast, Off the Dome with Domes Gage. And I've tried recording this episode so many times that I'd rather just not even talk about how many times I've tried recording this podcast and just move forward as if this is the first time I sat down to try and record this podcast. Anyway, welcome back, guys. Shout out to everybody that listened and watched episode 1. When I had the idea of doing this podcast, I wasn't really sure if people cared, if people wanted to listen to me talk for an hour, or I know a lot of people, or I know there's people that like the music, but to ask them to listen to that person talk for an hour, it's asking a lot from somebody. So I got a lot of feedback on the last episode, and yeah. Shout out to you guys. Off the Dome with Domes Gage is here to stay. You feel me? And so we're going to continue to get better. Buck's in it for the long haul with me. You know, he's chilling. He's holding my water. I tried recording this episode yesterday and drank way too much caffeine before and had like a little panic attack. And this light makes it very hot in here. So, just wasn't happening, guys. It wasn't happening. But anyway, we're back. We're here. And I'm using this one. I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping this one. And I've said that on a few other takes. Didn't I say I was not going to talk about how many other times I've tried to do this episode? All right, guys. So yeah, shout out to everybody that listened or watched the first episode. The podcast is now available on Spotify, which is really cool to me because you can just search Domes Gage and my music will pop up. And then also there should be a little tab for podcasts. So you can see my music, my podcasts, all in one place on Spotify. Because you could search Off the Dome, but like I said before in the last episode, there's some Off the Dome imposters, some Off the Dome podcast imposters. So you might just want to search Domes Gage and it'll for sure pop up. So anyway. Learn to clear my throat away from the mic, not directly into it next time, guys. Sorry. Okay. Well, we're riding, we're rolling, we're rocking, we're rolling, we're going, we're flowing. Is that good enough rap for you, Ryan? Ryan hit me after the last episode, and he was like, oh, I saw the thumbnail you posted on YouTube, and I thought you were going to rap. Because Off the Dome with Domes Gage, I'm holding a mic in the it kind of looks like I'm going to rap. I agree with him. And I hope, like, a bunch of you guys didn't, like, click on this thinking, oh, damn, he's about to rap for an hour, and then got disappointed. Nobody's commented that, but, you know, it's doing fairly well on YouTube, and I was surprised by that. So I don't know if you guys are showing love because you're interested in the podcast or watching it because you thought I was going to rap and I didn't. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so that was my rap right there. I don't even remember what I said, but that's for you, Ryan, and anybody else that thought I was going to rap. I actually thought of adding something like that. Like, oh, what if I did like a little freestyle rap at the fucking end of this thing? And then the more I thought about it, I was like, after talking to myself for an hour, the last thing I want to do is freestyle rap. It's not going to happen, guys. Like, I'll think about it, but I don't think it's going to happen. Because, yeah, dude, that's just... People assume I'm a much better freestyle rapper than I am because people think those rap battles that I used to do were all, like, off the top when, like, that's not how it goes anymore, or how it's been for a very long time in the rap battle scene. It's a lot more like a boxing match where you get months to prepare for your opponent. And yeah, so it's not you write those things. Maybe a couple improvisations. I don't fucking know if that's a word. Couple, fucking freestyle little flips you'll throw in there. But, yeah, dude, you're not fucking freestyling those battles anymore. So, freestyling. Oh yeah, like I used to freestyle when I was a kid. Like maybe I don't remember what episode of me and KON's podcast we talked about it, but me and KON used to freestyle a lot together when I was coming up, when I was like really, really young and like 15, like maybe even younger than that type shit. Like he would pick me up and we'd put on like instrumental CDs and just freestyle for fucking hours and a lot of it isn't good. And that would be the thing is I'm like how, because he was better than me, and I'm like, I don't get how to do it, I don't get how to freestyle. And he'd be like, you just have to keep going. You just have to keep, like, there's gonna be some bad moments, there's gonna be some blank spots, but you're gonna reach a few minutes that are just like, on fire or whatever. And I feel like that's much like this podcast. I feel like it's much like this podcast because because there's going to be some terrible minutes in this podcast. And I was thinking every podcast probably has some terrible minutes. They're recording for a long time. Not every minute can be fucking entertaining. So, anyway, cut me some slack, guys. Not that anyone's, like, giving me shit, but, like, anyway. Anyway, yeah, not going to freestyle rap, guys. Sorry. I'm going to do more actual raps, more like, stuff that's real, actual music and shit. I know Ryan is just laughing at this right now that I even brought it up and even just how bad I'm doing right now. So love you, Ryan. So yeah, I don't remember where I just left off. Anyway, intro song. Jesus, dude. If I could only think, maybe I'd have a decent podcast, right? If my brain would work, maybe Off the Dome would be better if the thing that's in my dome would fucking work for once. Jesus. Okay, guys. I'm gonna stop fucking freaking out over. I told you guys I had a full yesterday I was like, yo, I can't do this shit today. It's not happening. And today, if I don't do it, then there's no episode tomorrow. And I don't know. You guys get what you get, like I said. There's going to be some terrible minutes, like me chewing ice into the fucking microphone. All right, guys. That was so terrible. I could hear it in my headphones. Let's try and talk about something, actually. Oh, I don't think I even finished what I was talking about with the intro song. I made an intro song, guys. That's what I'm trying to get out. Jesus. So yeah, when I was editing the podcast last week, I was like, damn, I need an intro song. So last minute, I looked at the beats I've made, right? And I just start going through old beats, and I found that beat, so that's really cool. I thought it was cool that I made the beat to my intro song. And then I started going through old footage and finding different sound bites and different samples of people saying my name or just like funny little things. And I wanted to break it down, but I don't know how I can like listen to it and like talk about the bits individually. So it's kind of hard for me. I don't know. I haven't figured the technical aspect of this podcast out yet that much. Yeah, I just slapped that together, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was happy with how it came out, and hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, well, I have no idea what I was gonna talk about next. I was gonna break down the intro song a little bit, but maybe I'll do that when I figure out how to. For now, you just have to guess. I don't know. I'm going to just talk about something. domesgage.com/shop for the merch. Get the t-shirt. I'm going to talk about something. And see, I feel that right now I would just be like, you know what, fuck this, and turn this shit off and like not want to do this episode, right? Because I'm like clearly having a fucking difficult time if you guys can't tell. So I would really just be like fucking over this shit. But the fact that I have to put it out tomorrow and I'm like sticking myself to this schedule of, I have to be weekly with the podcast and I have to sit down and do this, I think is like good for me. I think it's like forcing me to talk about something. It's forcing me to be productive. And I think even if I sit down like with a fucking shitty attitude, like if I can talk through it and get through it, I think that'll be very therapeutic for me. I don't know what the hell I'm going to be talking about that's very therapeutic at the moment, but maybe we'll get there. Maybe this will get real I was going to say like Dr. Drew or something, but I don't know if that makes sense. Celebrity rehab, but I'm not on drugs. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about, guys. Welcome to Off the Dome with Dome's Gauge. Okay. Well, since I was talking about like the rap battle thing briefly a little bit ago, right? Briefly. I was talking about my old rap battles. Recently somebody hit me up and notified me that my old rap battle versus Coolie Bop, which was one of my more popular ones, just hit 1 million views on YouTube, which is super crazy. Like when I did that battle or any of those, I never thought that they would be as popular as they got. And getting seeing 1M next to anything you're a part of is pretty fucking crazy. I can't lie. Segue, also recently, my song from Old Soul and a Young Body, Shoot for the Sky, just hit 100,000. Not quite 1 million, but let me tell you what, that 100,000 on my Shoot for the Sky music video means 10 times as much as the 1 million views that my rap battle has. Not like discrediting the rap battle stuff. Like that shit was fun and it was a great time and it'll always be like an awesome stepping stone for me to look back at, right? But this music is what I'm focused on, and seeing Shoot for the Sky hit 100,000 was like really big for me because the fact that my camera is killing me right now. You good? You good, camera? You all right? You all right? We can do this? We can do this? We're good? You straight? I'm just talking to my camera here, guys. I'm just talking to inanimate objects. A fucking plastic dog in my fucking camera. I'm just talking to things now. I'm losing my mind. I'm going crazy. Okay. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, Shoot for the Sky hitting 100,000. That means way more to me than the rap battle thing, just because that was like the first song that I like branched off with, like the new style I guess I was taking at the time, the more personal, more open. The battle rap character was kind of me as a younger kid, and I was becoming more of myself, and I did the Shoot for the Sky. That was the first song I dropped as Dome's Gauge, was Shoot for the Sky. And to see people still listening to that, it's fucking 5 years old, and to see people still watching that video and for it to get 100,000 is really awesome. Now, if only I can get my other music videos up there as well. Or, let's get Shoot for the Sky to 1 million. I guess that's the next goal. But yeah, I'd like to get the other videos to match Shoot for the Sky. Okay, well, domesgauge.com/shop for the merch. That's my segue. Anytime I fuck up, I'm just going to promote the merch. Yeah, domesgauge.com/shop. So last week, on last week's episode, I said that I was going to drop the Trust the Process music video on the 12th, which is today, the day you'll be seeing this episode. And it's not coming out on the 12th because I decided, I'm going to drop the podcasts on Monday. I didn't know when I was going to release the podcasts, so I'm going to do every Monday. So, every Monday, new episode of Off the Dome with Dome's Gauge. But So that means I can't drop the music video, or I don't want to drop the music video the same day as the podcast. So the music video will come out on Friday. So the 16th. Yeah, August 16th. Trust the Process music video dropping. It's a really cool video. So yeah, I talk about that video a little bit on the last episode. So go check that. Go watch that terrible mess again. Nah, I don't know. This one's going to be a lot worse than the first episode, and you would think I'd move forward, not backwards, but that's how the fucking cookie crumbles, huh? All right. Let's see. I met up with KON a couple days ago, and he's super jealous that I started a solo podcast, like super jealous because no, I'm just fucking with him in case he watches this. But he definitely wants to bring back the Domes and KON podcast now because he sees my solo endeavor. And that's tight, but we just have to figure out some things with it still. We're figuring out if we're going to do it on a different channel. We're figuring out. I don't want to deal with this camera issue shit. Like, me and KON's podcast be like hours long and shit, and I don't want to deal with this camera issue shit for that. I'd rather figure out a better situation. So we're looking into a couple things, but it'll be back for any fans of that podcast that used to listen a couple years ago. And even me and him were talking that podcasts are so much more popular now. Like, maybe that's why people are fucking with this one, because more people listen to podcasts now. I don't know what it is. Maybe you guys just want to hear me babble about nonsense or are interested. You guys probably don't want to hear me babble about nonsense. You probably want to hear me talk about like actual substance, but you tuned in and this is what you get. So but yeah, I think I was talking like a little bit ago. I don't fucking remember how long ago at this point because I've probably edited a ton of shit out. But about sitting down to do this podcast, it's keeping me productive, and that's for sure a thing because last week I was talking about releasing an EP. Like, I've been working on a ton of music, and everyone's asking when the next album is coming, but I think right now the next focus I've had in my head at least that I want to do an EP probably because I have like a group of singles that are in the same realm, I guess, the same style of music. They kind of fit the same sound, and I want to like release a body of work, but not the next album yet. Like, the album's coming, the album's being worked on and shit, but I feel like I want to do a smaller project first. So yeah, I said that in the last episode, and that was kind of like manifesting it because I put it out on YouTube to you guys, and then that makes me be like, oh shit, now like maybe that's actually a thing, right? Because before it was just a thought in my head, and then I took it off the dome and I put it so bad, and I put it out on YouTube for you guys, right? And then that made me really like crack down on that and be like, damn, that's a real thing now. Now I started listening to those songs and I started taking notes of what I need to do to fix those songs. I need to re-record parts. I need to mix this better. I need to add delays and I need to do certain, whatever I need to do, I'm taking notes about it. I'm arranging a track list, now I'm getting an order of this song goes here, this song goes here. And yeah, just speaking about things on the podcast, I guess, make it more real for me. Something, when you have like something in your head and then when you have something in your head, you don't necessarily execute it, or it's not necessarily like a deadline. If you don't tell somebody else the deadline is just to you, and it's a lot easier to not get it shit done by the deadline. You know what I mean? So here I go. domesgage.com/shop. Thank you guys for listening to this. Jesus, this has been a rough one, and I promise I will get better at these. I'm gonna have more of a direction, and I'm gonna record them more when I have these ideas instead of writing these ideas down and trying to record them on a Friday or the weekend before I have to release the episodes. More like, yeah, I should have done this because I watched the first episode after I released it, and I was like, oh, I should talk about this. I should talk about this. I should reiterate what I was saying in the first one on certain shit. And now I'm just like, I don't know. Buck, I'll ask Buck for advice. Maybe he's got something, but he's been pretty quiet lately. So yeah, I'm all over the place here, but Trust the Process music video coming out on Friday the 16th, and make sure you tune into that. I want to do like maybe like next week, because it'll be out. I'll watch the video. Shit, I need to figure out how to do that. I'll watch the video and try and like talk about it on the podcast, break it down as we watch it, if I can figure out how. So, yeah, there was stuff on the last week's episode that I was like going to correct, but at this point I don't really remember what it was. So off the dome with Dome's Gauge. Dude, I'm going to just freestyle. How about that? I'm just going to freestyle. Hey, yo, Buck, we don't give no fucks. I'm with my dog. See? And there it goes. Well, it's a fantastic episode. All right. I'm going out of my mind. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm gonna just throw shit like this in there. I think you guys will have. I think me recording this podcast is funnier than the actual podcast. That's for sure. Because I'm just losing my fucking marbles. All right, I think I had questions, so maybe we should try and do those, because I'm fucking. I'm just drawing a blank, guys, and hopefully not every episode will be as stupid as this. Jeez. All right. Instagram. When is my next show? September 11th at Ninja Karaoke here in Las Vegas. Opening for Apathy and Self-Titled. I think a flyer is going to be coming for it soon, so I'll definitely be promoting that one on my Instagram and all that. But yeah, September 11th, which I want to say is, I better not get the date wrong while I'm promoting my show here. It is Wednesday, September 11th. Ninja Karaoke. Yeah. That's when my next show is. And speaking of shows, I guess this will segue into something that I kind of want to talk about, and hopefully can give me something to actually talk about for a couple minutes. Doing shows, a lot of these shows that I'm doing, I'm opening for people, right? And that's awesome. Like, having the opportunity to be able to open for an artist with a bigger fan base than mine, and I guess the objective there is to hopefully get some of their fans to know who I am. Yeah, sometimes that's the case. Sometimes I get a fan or a couple fans that didn't know who I was before they came to the show, and they saw it and listen to my stuff now. So that's awesome. However, the more like lately, as of recently, the more like times that I open for people, and I don't know, like I've been really thinking lately that I want to do my own show. Like I want to throw my own show where I headline and I get, even if it's less people, I think I would be more proud of having less people come out to my show than me opening for somebody that the people that listen to me don't necessarily care about. It's hard for me to sell to my fans and my friends, like, yeah, here's a fucking $20 ticket to see me do a 15-minute set where I'm opening for somebody that you guys don't care about. It's like they don't really jump to do that, as opposed if I was like, hey, this is my show, I'm headlining, and it's a lot cheaper. And I don't know, I'm just curious to try that. I've never done it. I've never headlined my own show, and I just think it's in order, man. I think it's time. Of course, I'd have to figure out everything. It's not going to happen next week, but like that's something I want to look into doing, is doing my own show. I would have much more, I'd do like an hour or 45 minutes. Like I do a pretty long set compared to me hopping, fucking having to rush, 15 minutes with no breaks in these sets where I'm opening for people and shit. And so I don't know. I don't know that anybody would go. Would you go if I threw a show in Las Vegas? I know I have a lot of fans that aren't in Vegas, so that'd be like impossible unless you guys are, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, leave a comment if you're in Vegas or around Vegas and would come to a show if I threw my own solo Dome's Gauge concert, right? And who knows, with this EP I plan to release, I might need a release party, a release show. I don't know. Old Soul and a Young Body 5-year anniversary is coming up. I might need a show. I don't know. I want to do something for the 5-year anniversary. I don't know what yet, but I'm thinking about something. So, yeah. 5 fucking years. That's insane. And speaking of 5 years, that's the same person, Rhea. I hope I said your name right. And not Raya. I believe it's Rhea, right? But she's awesome. She's the best. She has been a fan. I think she saw me open for Ritz or somebody. So that kind of goes against what I was saying a second ago where, yeah, it's cool that somebody can see me at a show where they don't know who I am and become a fan of me, right? But yeah, shout out to her. She's awesome. She came and personally picked up a t-shirt from me, and she shows a lot of love and comes to the shows, and you're the best. Shout out to you. So she asked me when my next show was, and she also asked me a question on YouTube where she says, I want to know where you see yourself in 5 years. What goals or dreams do you want to achieve? What musicians influenced you growing up? So yeah, she said, I want to know where you see yourself in 5 years. And the funny thing about this is I actually did a YouTube video 4 years ago, close to 5 years ago, about this same question. Somebody asked me this question, right? And I kind of dread this question a little bit, because when somebody asked it to me the last time, I didn't know what to say. I of course just said the basic, I want to be bigger, I want to be better. I can't even remember the exact answer, but I know it was just I want to be the farthest I can take it. I want to be as successful as I can be. And I don't think I was being super specific with that. I don't think I was being specific enough, to be honest. I don't think, going back to what I was saying a few minutes ago about sitting manifesting these things, I think I was kind of embarrassed to say hey, I want this, I want that, I want, you know what I mean? I kind of want whatever, and I was embarrassed to say that out loud, and so I was embarrassed maybe of this exact feeling that I'm feeling of, I'm gonna say I want this, or I'm gonna say, yeah, I want to be here, I want the whatever Rolling Stone cover, and then in 5 years it doesn't happen. And I have to sit and look at myself and be like, oh yeah, what the fuck went wrong, right? So that, with this whole question, that really I thought about, oh, what did I say 5 years ago when I answered this question? And what went wrong, right? So that had me doing a lot of reflecting, man. That had me just really really thinking about what went wrong. And I don't know that anything necessarily went wrong. Me saying that sounds over dramatic and shit. But in 2015, when I dropped the album, there was a lot of momentum there, right? And now social media are like making it harder with the algorithms for posts to be seen, or maybe people just don't care as much. Don't really know, but could be a little bit of both. But yeah, I had a lot of momentum going in 2015, and when I look at where I'm at now with it, I'm like, I feel like now I'm kind of like creeping back up. I'm trying, at least. I see the love more than I have in the last few years, and that's probably just me. You know what I mean? I haven't been releasing a lot of shit. I haven't been. What went wrong, right? That's my whole segment. And not to say, just like, I can't say anything necessarily went wrong. Maybe this is my path. Maybe it had to go up and then fizzle out a little bit, and then now for me to go up again. That's probably how things work. So everything happens for a reason, they say. So that's what we'll choose to believe. Yeah. So when I answered that question 5 years ago, it was I was really motivated at the time. I was super so determined, right? And so I was like, yeah, in 5 years we're gonna be bigger, better. We're gonna be, successful, and all this shit that I'm rapping about in these songs is gonna come true, hopefully, right? And in the next couple years, I think that same like motivation just kind of, I don't know that it necessarily went away, but I say, when I made the first album and I put out the first album, that it took a lot out of me. Like, it was a lot of personal songs and feelings that I've had bottled up for a long time, and that took a lot out of me as far as like wanting to jump right back into making music. I think I should have struck while the iron was hot. Everybody was talking about the first album. Well, enough people were talking about the first album to where I should have gave them a second one. We're looking almost 5 years later now, and I think that was something I said in that one, was like, oh, hopefully another album, right? Like, in 5 fucking years, you'd imagine I'd have another album. And the album thing kind of wasn't a focus for me. I was like, I don't really care about like crafting another album right now. Like, the first one was, it was what it was, and it took enough out of me to where, let me just fall back. I don't even think I was probably making beats, but I don't think I was writing raps, because I thought I had said everything. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to write, because the first album was so personal and so emotional that I was like, I didn't want my next thing to be like that. I didn't want to keep writing music like that. Like, there's a time and place for everything. And with that album, I was really making it a point just to my most personal, my most like, the most like deep emotional shit that I can pull out was what I did for that album. And so the next song I was trying to make, I wasn't trying to fucking recreate that, or the next album in my head at the time, I wasn't trying to recreate that. And I think I fucked up there, honestly. I think I fucked up, not necessarily, about not recreating the first album, but not giving them another one, not giving them more content, because I was so content with the first album and the music on there that I was like, that's enough. Like, they haven't even heard the first one. Like, why? I can't even give them anything else if they don't hear this first one first. And so that was dumb. I should have dropped something else. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? In hindsight, I could have fucking promoted the album better. I could have done a ton of things different with it. And I say all that to say that I'm using all of that as motivation now, because for a long time there, for the last few years, I don't know how like hard I was chasing this shit. I don't like, of course I was making the music, and I was like, this is all I fucking care about, and it's all I do. But the making the thought in my head a reality, like I was doing, hasn't been there, as far as like, this is actually achievable, it's a real thing. And that's because it's hard to, when you're going up and you have some momentum, and then the fucking balloon deflates and you're back down on the ground, right? And there's a hole in the balloon and you got to patch the fucking, I don't even know if you can patch balloons up. Maybe like a hot air balloon if we're going to go there, but you know. Yeah. So it's hard to act like nothing happened. It's hard to act like I have the same people that are watching me from 5 years ago when I put out that album that are watching Back on the Road music video, Run Into the Ground music video. Just like I said, Shoot for the Sky hit 100,000. Those are at a couple thousand, which awesome. Like, I'm super grateful for those couple thousand. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it like that at all. Like, I think Run Into the Ground's at like 6K last time I looked at it. And that's super sick to me that a newer song of mine is starting to pick up some speed. And that's what I was saying is I feel like I'm starting to kind of fucking climb back up the hill or whatever, you know? Like, I got fucking knocked down and I'm starting to work my way back up. And yeah, I don't want, like, I don't know. I'm using all of that as motivation, I guess. And I know I'm long-winded around your question, but I will get like back to the point, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I was looking at like my, I went back to look at like old Instagram posts, which you should never do, to be honest, unless you're going to archive them like me. So I went and not deleted, I don't know what archiving on Instagram is, but yeah, it took off like a couple old posts that don't need to be there. And it just brought me back a little bit. It brought me back to the time of me sitting in this studio and making that album and me promoting that album and the work that I was putting in and the confidence and the fucking determination, dude. That's the best word I can use for it, really, is because I was determined to make that album, as you can hear in it. And you know, after I dropped it, I needed to live some life. I needed to live life before I went back and wrote another one. And I took too long living life, probably. I should have lived a little bit of life, then wrote some more songs instead of like, no, you got to live fucking, you know, a long time. Or, you know what I'm trying to say, I hope. Yeah, so I just think I lived too much life. No, not too much life, but you know what I'm saying. I took too long. Like, of course I was making songs here and there, but I just wasn't focused. My focus wasn't let me make another project, and that definitely should have been my focus, thinking that that's what the fans wanted. And now it's 5 years later, just about. In January 27th will be 5 years anniversary, the 5-year anniversary of my debut album. And yeah, man, if you would ask me 5 years ago and I put out that album, will you have another album in 5 years? I would say I hope more than one, right? And I don't know, that just wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. So yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about that recently, just like, damn, what happened? Like, I feel like everything was on the up and then we just I was like, oh yeah, you know, you do life stuff, like things I'll not get into right now. That we'll save that for another day. Again, I don't want to make it sound like I'm downplaying the people that are here with me now. You guys actually mean the fucking most to me, that you guys stuck around, you guys saw the album, heard the album, liked it, and stuck around for 4 or 5 years to listen to this podcast or that shit means the most to me. So thank you guys, man, for real. You guys are motivation as well as just me kind of getting back in that focus, in that mindset of really pursuing this shit because, and yeah, like I said, it's hard sometimes to stay motivated, stay moving forward when you just see shit rolling backwards. And I think the reason that it was going so well a few years ago, or even feels like it was going so well, because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, was it really going that much better? Or But yeah, I think the reason that it was, or felt like it was going so well is because I was speaking these things into existence. I was positive about it. I was motivated. I was like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. And when it starts to feel like this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and then a door closes and you're like, oh, this might not happen. And I feel like that's the most important. I feel like that's a good crossroads for me to be coming to, right? I feel like I'm the most motivated that I've been in a long time to pursue this shit and to really make this a reality again. And I think, I don't know. In 5 years, that's like, it's a hard question to answer because I dread saying, in 5 years, I'm going to be selling out arenas. In 5 years, I'm going to be platinum selling artist. In 5 years, I'm going to be on tour, headline tour, selling out arenas back to the first one. In 5 years, I hope to have so much more of you guys, so much more of the people that are listening to the podcast, so much more of the people that actually fucking care, right? A lot of these artists these days are building these fan bases that just love them, and that's so fucking important, and that's so awesome. And so I got a handful of comments on this episode. In 5 years, I hope when I'm still doing this podcast in 5 years, let's hope. Where do I want to see myself in 5 years? All those things I was just mentioning and so much more, right? And like I said before, I was scared to put those things out into the universe, but this is all just going back to using this podcast to kind of manifest these things and turn them into reality, right? So, yeah, I want to sell out arenas, man. Sell out, fucking go on a sold out arena tour, multiple. I want to have platinum albums. I want to be platinum selling recording artist. I want to work with all the greats. I want to You put me on the spot here. I didn't really think about this, as you can tell. It's off the dome. But I'm not writing that Rolling Stone cover off because I said that in the song. And I know that song is old now, but shit, I'm still pushing for that one. So yeah, that's like a handful of things. I'm just gonna run with those, I suppose. What musicians influenced me growing up? Well, I used to listen to so much different shit because my pops would always like play just the wildest like variety of music. Like it would be like from Jimi Hendrix to Bad Religion to Eminem and 50 Cent, and it would just be like, so I'd get a little bit of mix of everything, some Red Hot Chili Peppers, some whatever you're gonna throw in there. So that was like when I was really, really young, I think what made me like music. Like even when I hear a Red Hot Chili Pepper song, or I get like a nostalgic feeling of hearing those really early, hearing the stuff I used to hear as a kid. But then hey guys, Domes from the future here, giving a short disclaimer for this next part of the podcast. I keep saying we used to listen to this, we used to do that, and I'm referring to me and my older brother, and for some reason I don't think I clarify that in the podcast, and it sounds kind of out of place. I don't know. I was rushing through this podcast. I was out of it, having a bad day. Anyway, back to the episode. When I was like 11, we started to, or actually a little bit younger probably, we started to listen to like a lot of punk rock, a lot of like I mentioned Bad Religion, but we were all into Casualties and Addicts and just all sorts of punk rock music, right? Fucking mosh pits and stuff. And we were even in like fucking punk rock bands, and that kind of sparked the interest of playing music. That sparked me picking up a guitar or playing the drums, or that really started that of we really got into instruments because of the punk rock music. And I want to say like not that long after, like because we got into the instruments because of the punk rock music, but like I said, we were still listening to all sorts of different genres, and hip hop was the biggest one that we listened to. And so not that long after it was, we, took the stuff that we had been learning on the instruments and the guitar and the drums, and we took that to FL Studio, and started making beats and started making hip hop beats and shit. And I started rapping, it was like really, really early on that I started rapping. So yeah, some of my earliest rap influences, Eminem, clearly, like I said, my pops was playing Eminem and all my brothers listened to him. So, and I was really into like the game's 300 bars and running is what made me want to write my first rap on everything. We used to listen to a lot of like more mainstream stuff until one time my brother was like, hey, you never heard about this underground shit? And I guess like one of his homies had put him on or whatever, and he started showing me like more underground like hip hop, like he started showing me like Atmosphere and Jedi Mind Tricks and things like that. And those were big influences for me to, I guess, change like the direction I was going. Not that I was really in a direction at that time, but when he showed me the more like underground, like lyrical stuff, it made me want to be more lyrical. And I hate using that word in 2019, but yeah. So I don't know if that answers your questions. Hopefully it kind of does. All right, what other questions we got in here? Nate and Jay says he wants my logo on a beanie. I do want to do beanies and like hoodies and stuff for the winter time, so we'll see what happens, but hell yeah. And then I know Hot Dog Kisser asked a question, and now I have to answer it because shout out to anybody that used to listen to the Domes and KON podcast and knows all about Hot Dog Kisser. That's our, I don't know, it's... He used to listen to the podcast and ask us questions all the time, and he asked me something, but I don't remember what it is. I'm going to Instagram to find it. Oh, he said, how did you break your first bone in your body? Well, knock on wood, I have not broken a bone, and I hope I don't. So don't put that juju on me, Ricky Bobby. Another question was, why did you leave A-Hat, and do you ever plan on going back? I have a whole video. It's a pretty old video at this time, but I think everything I was saying in that video still applies, so you can go watch that video. I don't need to reiterate right now. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's it for the questions. Leave them down below. I'll answer them next week, or I'll try. And I'll try and not go on a fucking nonsensical rant for 15 minutes about that I'm going to have to edit up and chop up because I don't even know what the fuck I was talking about half the time. So we'll get better. To go back to the where do I see myself in 5 years question, which I'm jumping all over the place here, but anyway, I'm going to be 31 in 5 years, right? And I think I told myself at some point, like, if I'm like 30 and this shit doesn't work out, like I should probably try something else, right? And I think that's dumb now because the more and more people are just, there's no fucking age limit to this shit. Me and my mom watched a fucking awesome documentary the other day called Searching for Sugar Man. And it's a story of like a rock singer in the 70s who like got signed or something, put out 2 albums that absolutely flopped, sold nothing, like put out 2 albums in America, fucking flopped completely. And he quits. He says, fuck this, gives up on his dream of being a musician or whatever to go and live his regular life. And that whole time that he's just like not worried about it, his songs are going like crazy, doing crazy numbers, like millions of copies being sold in South Africa. And then so this documentary is about, it's about like 2 people basically trying to find this guy. And there was like rumors that this guy had killed himself and all sorts of crazy rumors. But I don't know. I just thought that was like a super cool story of this guy stopped pursuing it like that. He gave it a shot and he stopped pursuing it like that. And that whole time that he stopped caring about it as much, is when it started to do well for him, if that makes any sense. I don't know, man. So I've also thought that, like, maybe it's just not my time. I say in 5 years I want to be this, I want to have this. Maybe that's just not how it's supposed to work out. Maybe I'm going to be fucking 70 years old like Sixto Rodriguez from fucking Searching for Sugar Man when I get popping. Whatever. I'll tour in fucking South Africa when I'm 70. Let's do this. I'm more than down. So yeah, the end of that documentary, which I don't want to give it away, but he goes and he plays like 4 like sold out arena shows in South Africa. And it's like you put out an album and it completely flopped. Nobody heard it. And then however many years later, 20 odd years later or something, I don't remember the exact timeline, but yeah, it's really crazy. And just there's a lot of artists these days that are just becoming successful older, and that also makes me like not lose hope, not be like, oh, I'm fucking getting older and when I'm 30 I need to stop rapping or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to add that on top of the question because that's another thought I've had and was on my mind, was Off the Dome. And this is episode 2 of Off the Dome with Dome's Gauge. I'm ending it here. This is going to be a nightmare to edit, and my camera was freaking out. I was freaking out. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff I got to cut out. And Buck was the only one that wasn't freaking out. He was chilling. He was posted the whole time, holding my water, didn't complain once. He's the real MVP. All right, guys. Hope you enjoy somehow. I hope you enjoy this. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, every Monday, Off the Dome with Dome's Gauge. We'll be back next week. Peace.